Welcome back to part 2 of this how to use ChatGPT in Unreal Engine. And in this part, we'll build on what we built in the first part. If you haven't seen that part, go and watch it because that's how you set it up in the first place. And then in this part, we'll talk about how to actually use it as a kind of like narrator in the game and why that might be interesting. So let's get started. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to remove our agent from the scene because we don't want that one. That was just a test one. But what we will do is we'll duplicate this one and we'll call this GPT agent underscore narrator. Narrator. So we'll go into our narrator and then we're going to change a couple of things in order to make this like more of a narrator. It doesn't need to be this like weird pirate thing. Here we go. You are a narrator for a video game. And then we use that same bit, put in here, you're a narrator for a video game. You need to comment on what the player is doing in the game. Okay. I'm ready. One more thing, we'll put a little thing in here to say, make your responses short. One sentence, please. Yeah, the responses can get quite long, depending on kind of what your prompt is. So if we kind of say that up front that we want these to be short, then hopefully they will be short. And yeah, they'll kind of fit on the screen as kind of like text narration or whatever it may be. One thing we're going to add to this, which we haven't done yet, one, we're going to get rid of this print screen because we don't need that. But what we're going to do is this messages, we're going to put this here, we're going to make a copy of it basically, and then we're going to add this message sorry, yeah, we need to break it rather than like split it and then break this as well. So we've got access to it, right? Yeah, so this message gets added on the process completion, which is great. And that just means that like, as we send messages to this narrator, we get, we basically know like that it's going to save the message that it's also sent. So when we ask it more messages and more things, it'll have a history and it'll know like what's been going on basically. Cool. So we need to add a couple of bits to this. All right, first bit we're going to do is we're going to create the UI that's going to show like the text. So what we'll do there is we're going to, you can't see it, but you scroll down to the very bottom, user interface, and then blueprint widget. And then we want like a user widget. Let's just rename that and let's call it narrator. We'll go in here and then we'll create a, where is it? I don't remember where it is, panel, canvas panel. We're going to go for a size box within there. And then we're going to put a text in our size box. There we go. And then in the size box, we're going to go size to content. We're going to anchor the size box to the middle, zero that out, make that 0.5, make that 0.5. So now we've got our text in the middle. And this text is going to be like, well, we need to make that a variable for one. And also we're going to auto wrap the text. And this size box, we're going to override the width to make it like 650, so it doesn't ever do that. And also we're going to center align our text. Cool, so that's like the design done. And then in here, we need to go in and then our text block, get text block, set text, promote that to a variable. We can just call that text, it's fine. And then on event construct, it'll set the text that we want it to be like when we construct it. So we just need to click on this text here, instance editable, expose on spawn, and then we will add a delay. We'll give it like maybe 5 seconds. And then once that's completed, we're going to remove from parent. Sweet. So essentially what we've done is we've created like a little narration text thing that will come up, which we can test actually. So what we need to do is we need to, let's just get rid of that. Let's pull our narrator into the scene. And let's go onto our narrator. The player has entered the world. Give me an intro for them, please. So here on our process complete, we are going to create one of those widgets. So we're going to go create widget. It's going to be the narrator. And then we can see that it's come up with the text there, and that's what we want the content to be. So it's basically going to make that, hopefully bring it to the thing. First thing we do actually is promote it to a variable, just so we've got a reference of it. And let's call this narration text. And then we're going to add to viewport. So now, hopefully when we play our game, first thing it's going to do is send a thing off, and then hopefully we'll get some narration on the screen. GPT started. Welcome adventure to a world yet unexplored, ripe with danger and opportunity. There we go. And this will be different every time. It's pulling from ChatGPT. This isn't like a pre-written thing. So let's try it again, see what we get. Welcome, hero, to a realm of adventure and mystery that awaits your exploration. We haven't told it anything about our game, so it's going to come up with some random stuff, but it's kind of fun. The more prompting you give it, the more kind of context, then the more like relevant it's going to be for your experience and the game that you're making. There's also a little going back up to this bit here, this temperature gauge. This is like one of the most important controls that you have over ChatGPT in any case, like not just in Unreal Engine. Anytime you're using the API, this is hidden when you're using like the chat interface, but in the API you have access to it. Any value above 1 is going to be very random. Like it's going to really make some random stuff, probably not even like making any kind of sense, just random characters and stuff. And the further you get to 2, it goes from 0 to 2, we'll get that. 0 to 1, it'll be a lot more consistent. So we're getting like a different thing every time now. Welcome venture to a journey of unknown beckons. If we put this down to like 0.1 and we do it again, it'll be different to last time. Welcome venture to a world brimming with wonder, danger, and untold mystery. So let's do it again. Land of mystery and danger. Yeah, danger. It's using danger a lot. I think if we probably put that down to like 0, you would get like the same thing every time, basically. Let your epic journey commence. Let's just double check that. Yeah. So essentially it's getting pretty similar. Whereas if we get it to like 1, they might have changed it actually, because it used to be when it was 0, it was like the same thing every time. But they might have just changed like how it works. In fact, they will have changed how it works, because that was a while ago. All right, so we've got our narrator. Now let's make it interactive in some way. We're going to make a new blueprint class. We're going to make an actor, and then we're going to call this zone or enter zone. And what this is basically going to be is like a way of showing the player or giving the player like some narration when they go to a certain area. So we're going to trigger the agent in that instance. So we're going to add on a box collision. We'll make this a bit bigger. I'll make it like 128 by 128, 128. And then just so we can like see like this, like where we are basically, I'm just putting like a sphere there. And I can't remember what this looks like. So let's just drag it out, enter zone. So there's one, and yeah, that's fine. We'll drag another one out over here maybe. And then we'll start putting some logic in there. So we've got our box. We need an event for that. So on component begin overlap. And then we're just going to test this out. Print string, little hello. We're going to get our narration. Hello. Yep. So you can see we've got a hello from that one, and we got a hello from that one in that top left corner. So we know that's working. That is great. but we don't want it to say hello. We want a few variables. So we've got our component begin overlap. We've got rid of our kind of test print screen. But what we're going to do is we're going to create a function in our narrator for this, sorry, our GPT agent narrator, not the widget, in order to get that prompt. So we're going to go new function, and this is going to be called player enter zone. Cool. And then we're going to add an output to this. No, sorry, an input to this, which is our zone name string. That's fine. And then we want to come back out to our event graph. We want to convert this to an event. Here we go. So now we've got this as like an event, and we can call this from other places, which is crucial because we want to call it from our enter zone, basically. So we're going to do another thing. We're going to go, we're going to add it to our messages. And then we're going to go make. And then we're not going to put it straight in here. What we're going to do is create a string, basically, using this as a variable. And there's a specific function you can use in Unreal to do that, which is called format text. And the way it works is you type in a bunch of stuff. So we can say the player has entered the, and then we can like put curly brackets and go zone. So that'll be like a variable zone. So it's not going to say zone, it will come up with a thing. In fact, if I press enter, then we'll get that. And we can drag that into there. Please give us some narration taking into, actually, yeah, please give us some narration based on this. And then we'll put that into there. We'll hook that up to there, and then we will hook this up to here. And we don't need to mess with this because it's already added the message, so it's going to get the message as well as like the intro message at the very beginning. But what we do need to do is enter zone. We need to get actor of class, and the class is going to be our GPT agent narrator. And then we need to call the player enter zone function. There we go. And then we're going to give it the zone name. So now all it's doing is when we overlap on that thing, it's going to send a message off to the GPT to give us some narration. So let's test it out, see what happens. So we've got our intro, and then GPT started. That's good. Our hero boldly steps into the danger-filled zone, ready for whatever comes next. And it's saying zone because we haven't told it what the zone is, which is very important. So let's go to here, and we're going to call this one the reason this is coming up is because in our enter zone thing, our zone name is instant editable and expose on spawn, and then we're using it here. So we'll go magic forest, and then this one over here we'll do something different. We'll go to the wishing well. Cool. Save. And let's try that again. Got a narration. We're into that zone. Oh, you can't see it. Behold the magic forest where echoes of ancient spells whisper through the trees. Let's go to the wishing well. You ventured upon the wishing well where dreams are submerged in mystical waters, and then back to the magic forest. Step cautiously in the magic forest. So this is kind of cool. We're getting some dynamic narrative based on where we go, but they're not linked. But they can be linked because it knows what the history is. So let's come out of there and let's just change this prompt a little bit. Like a lot of this relies on prompt engineering. I've been doing it for quite some time now, so I kind of get an idea of like how to give it a concise prompt, but you can just mess around with it. And it's very much like talking to a person. If you've had any practice with ChatGPT, then this stuff will come naturally based on this. And then we can just say, take into account the story so far and where the player has been previously. Oops, why it's in all caps. Let's try that now. So let's go to the magic forest. It's going to come over the text because I haven't told it not to. It's making up the fact we come from chilling caves. That's fine. But we've just been to the magic forest. Let's go to the wishing well. Leaving the magic forest behind, the hero finds himself gazing in the depths of the magical wishing well. And then let's try again with the magic forest, having been to the wishing well. Returning from the wishing well with renewed vigor, our adventurer again delves into the magical shadow of the magic forest. So interesting, it knows that like we had already been to the magic forest and we're coming back. So yeah, if you don't want that, then you have to kind of be smart as to how you like prompt it to tell it to like not refer to stuff, or maybe you just remove that from the from your chat history and so on, things like that. But yeah, that's it working. I hope that is helpful. Yeah, just as a little recap, we're using this like narrator. We've built like a sort of narrator bot, which is like this single agent. We've given it some initial messages, and then we're like adding those messages as we go. The first message gets sent just when we start the game, and then every subsequent message from that is getting sent when we go into those zones. But that's just one way of sending it. Like we could have buttons, we could have other characters around. We could say, like, once you've done a thing or you've performed a certain action, we could send a custom prompt to say the player has done X thing. And you can have lots of different variables in there. We're just using one, like the zone, but you can then fill that with variables. And then you can get this very like customized dynamic narrative stuff based on there, which is really cool. So we'll leave that there. That's kind of the end of part 2, I guess. And in the next part, we will kind of go back a little bit and we'll just do like a more basic like chat function, which is quite a cool thing to have in games. It's a little bit more basic use compared to this. This is more gameplay wise, but hopefully it'll be interesting. So see you there.